Let's talk a little bit about the condition of the buildings when you bought them. What shape were they in? Did you have to make a lot of repairs?
Because I didn't have a lot of money of that to invest, the properties were not in the greatest shape, but they were in a good enough shape that they were occupied by tenants, and tenants were able to live there without, too many problems. And then any investments that I made in fixing them up were done over a period of time, so it wasn't like right off the bat that I had to replace everything. But eventually, over time, I did end up, investing the money that I made from the tenants back into the buildings.
It's probably a little more difficult to make repairs when the tenants are living in the properties. So did you focus on more exterior maintenance and big ticket items to start with, and then worked your way into the units as people moved out? Is that kind of how you did it?
Yes, so the first things that I did is the most important thing. So roof, obviously important to have a roof that doesn't leak. And one of them needed a new roof. Another one eventually needed a new roof as well. The other one would be systems like boilers and hot water heaters. So I replaced most of them by now in both properties.
Mm-hmm.
And those can be done with very minimal impact on the tenants. The other things, which are like interior painting or new floors or floors refinishing, new appliances and so on, I end up doing that as tenants moved out and I brought in new tenants, so I wanted to upgrade the buildings as well.
Mm-hmm. You put a lot of money into the units, so let's talk a little bit about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make a profit every year that you've owned the properties? Did you suffer a loss? Was it a mixed bag? How is that looking financially for you?
Just to unpack what profit means in real estate, is that there are two ways that you end up making money, and one is just through property appreciation. So you buy the properties at one price, and then over the years they hopefully appreciate. And I was lucky to buy them at the time where we had a big appreciation in real estate values. So buildings I bought for $350,000, $400,000 now are valued around $650,000, maybe even $700,000. So that is profit that happened with very little input or
work on your part,
and no work on my part,
except for buying them.
Yeah, buying them and holding on to them, right? So
yeah,
that
is always that easy.
And then also, obviously the investments I put in there, hopefully they're valued more now that they have a new roof, right? But the other part, which is cash flow, so that is the money from rents that come in every month. You take that, you subtract any expenses, and then hopefully there is a number that's positive at the end, and so that it would be your profit.
Has that number been positive for you the first few years?
No. I think that given how much work was needed, this is, fingers crossed, we still have 3 months left in this year. This will be my first cash flow positive year on both properties.
After 5 years.
Yeah, after
5 or 6
years.
Yeah.
One of them has been around neutral for a while, and I think the most recent purchase was negative because I was putting in a lot of investment into that.
And I think that's important to stress that real estate in general isn't really a get rich quick scheme. I think some people have that hope or expectation maybe that I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to rent it out, I'm going to make a lot of money, and that may be true long term, but it just takes time in real estate usually. Even if you have short-term rentals, which you have a probably much quicker way of making profit with those types of properties, you still kind of have to invest, have to put money into it. It's, sometimes you have vacancies. So it does take time. I don't want people thinking that you're going to buy your first investment property, you're going to become a millionaire. It doesn't quite work that way, which is why I wanted to talk to you, kind of give people a realistic idea of what it takes.
Yes, and you see a lot of videos other than this video that you're gonna make tons and tons of money. It's super easy. I also hear a term that I hate, which is called passive income, even with something that right now doesn't take a lot of my effort because I have property managers managing them. It's definitely not passive. There's a lot of uncertainty. but I do still think it's a great way to invest your money over the long term.
You have to be patient, and you have
Yeah.
to go into it thinking that it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort, especially at the beginning as you're fixing units up. Over the long term, it's going to gain in value, and it's going to make a lot of profit, hopefully at some point.
Mhm. Yeah.
Especially the more upgrades you make to it. So it's not just the appreciation, but like you say, also making the improvements and adding value to the house over time that way. So all of that takes time. What would you say has been the biggest headache with owning your investment properties?
Well, I think it's people, right? Because you're dealing with people, people are unpredictable, people are oftentimes in stressful situations. So anything that has to do with the place that you live, your home, is always loaded with a lot of stress. And sometimes that is something you have to deal with, both tenants and financial problems, but also not getting along with each other, especially when you have multifamily where people are living basically on top of each other. That's definitely the unpredictable aspect of it.
What kinds of skills would you say are good to have when you own investment properties?
It's good to be handy, which I am definitely not. Yes. So if you can go in there with a wrench and fix that toilet yourself, all power to you. I think you have a leg up over,
You definitely have a leg up because you don't have to hire people and
Mhm.
pay money to get
Yes.
things fixed. So anything you
Yes.
can do to do things yourself is always a big positive.
Yeah. And the other one is just being confident that you can do it. Because when I got into this business, I didn't have a lot of experience or actually just owning my own house. But I always looked at it as, well, there are other people who do it, so it's possible to do it, and therefore
Why shouldn't I
why
be able
shouldn't
to do
I
it?
I do it as well? Yes.
What would you say are the biggest advantages of owning investment properties?
I think that is diversification. So when you're looking, your financial picture, and hopefully you have a job and you have a salary, then you might have some investments in the stock market from 401ks or any pension plans that you might have. And so real estate just gives you that other place to put your money that reacts slightly different to the market, and it's more stable. I always look at my investments in the stock market as this, I don't know where this money is, I don't know what's going on. At some point it might go down to zero, and I don't have much control over those companies. Whereas in real estate, you actually own the land that the building is on. So even if the building collapses, one is it's insured, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is that the land itself is what brings the value to the property. So it gives you more security, I think, and control. And then if you're savvy about how you manage it and the kind of people that you end up renting to, and just in general are prudent person, then you can actually make eventually a profit from it as well.